Hello and welcome back to the Ramsrat podcast. This is the Barnsley preview show. Simon Long here and Chris Holt joins me as always. Chris, good evening. How you doing, mate? Looking forward to Saturday.
Always looking forward to Saturday. Good evening, Simon. I'm very well, thank you.
Good. You had a good tea. You had a busy day.
I haven't had my tea yet. I've been cleaning carpets, but that's another story. So I'm looking forward to a nice Chinese after this.
Oh, you hold on. You always have a go at me for eating crap, and then there's you banging down Chinese. That's it. I tell you what, when you have coaches like you, who needs? I don't know what.
Well, I'm not going to mention that other sport which you don't allow me to mention. The one that ends in ball and starts with basket.
Oh, that
But
one.
I refereed 2 games last night, so I need a little bit of stodge back in the good old legs, getting ready
Oh,
for the weekend.
I'll let you off then. I'll let you off. So then, anyway, weekend, Barnsley at the weekend, Barnsley away. Last time we played them was in the Cup. It was at home. We won 3-0. Both teams, pretty good form. I would suggest. What are you expecting from the game, Chris?
I'm expecting a different Barnsley to the FA Cup, to be honest. I
Right.
think that they're at home. They've got a good home form. They are scoring goals for fun. It's quite similar. If you look at their fixtures this last sort of 7 or 8 games, obviously they got beaten by us, but it's quite uncanny how if you look at their results against teams and you look at our results against the same teams, it's literally parallel. It's very close. So I'm expecting a really, really tough game. I think they'll also go very direct. I think they'll go similar to Wickham. I don't think they'll try and play us at our game, which is football on the floor, because I think that's why we won't wipe the floor with them at Pryor Park. So yeah, I think you'll see a lot more aerial threats than on the floor. I don't know about yourself.
Well, yeah. I remember last time we played at well, not last time, but one of the last times. Can you remember that game in was it pre the COVID season? I think it was. Oh, that was horrendous. That 0-0 draw where Rooney just
Mm.
went, they lump it, so let's lump it back at him. Oh, it's such a drab game that was.
They were on the edge of the playoffs, wasn't they? Or they were in the playoffs, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. But obviously, I mean, what they now 1-6 unbeaten. So they've got, like I said, good run of form. They are putting goals past people for fun. You know me, I like to be optimistic, extremely optimistic. I said we wouldn't lose against Wickham, we wouldn't lose against Lincoln. I still believe that. I know we did lose against Wincoln. There's a new team,
There
Wickham.
you go.
Uh,
if they ever amalgamate Lincoln and Wickham, that's what they're going to be called.
Winkham. That's a brand new team for everyone. Oh no,
Winkham.
what have we going about in 5 minutes? I've already messed up. Oh, well, never mind. Keep that in. Yeah, Winkham. Good old Winkham, that team. Yeah, but I don't know. I think I just think we played them. I don't know. It's a tough one to call. My heart says we'll win. My head sort of says, yeah, I think it will be a tough game. But I do think we've got enough quality to get the victory there. And to be honest, listening to Paul Warne in his his sort of post match or pre match interview, he was sort of suggesting it's going to be a tight game. Both teams are well coached, well drilled, well disciplined, and I think it's just going to be down to those fine margins. To be honest, I mean, so okay, when we were the pre Wickham game, we did Radio Derby together, and you said to change it up. You've obviously mentioned it there. So in saying that, then let's pick your team. Let's pick your team for Wickham. Oh my days! Let's pick your team for to play
You've
against
got Wickham
Barnsley.
on the brain, you have, mate.
I don't know why. I don't know. Not sure why. Gareth Ainsworth gone to QPR and he said, never mind. So yeah, let's pick your team. What formation you going with?
Oh, you see, I think he'll go rigid. I think he'll go 4-5-1. I don't think he'll risk 3-5-2. I don't think he'll play two up top. Um, I don't think he'll make it particular attacking. I think he'll look to grind this one out. I think if he, you never know with Paul Warren if he's going to go with an out and out attacking ethos or whether he's never yet, to be fair, gone like for like. And I think that he will go like for like this time. I think we'll learn a lot. I think he's learned a lot from the result at Wickham. Yes, we had opportunities. Yes, we were in the game at 1-1, but I do believe that, as I said on our previous podcast, I didn't think he managed it particularly well, to be honest. And I'd have got out of dodge at a 1-1 and made relevant substitutions to come out with that point. I think we'll go 4-5-1. Obviously, we know that Wildsmith will start, but it'd be interesting whether he goes for Collins up top or whether he goes for McGoldrick. What's your thoughts? Because I think he's rested Collins for a reason and he's going to be chomping at the bit. And I think this will be a far more physical game than Charlton.
So, I mean, looking at Barnsley, they seem to play a 5-3-2. Which, and you said, do you think they won't go trying to play football against us? So my theory is, if you think he's going to match it or not match it necessarily, if he's going to match their style of play, get crossed into the box, I think he might go 4-4-2 again with the usual Wildsmith in goal, Smith as your right back, Fozzie, Cashin, centre backs. The left back position, I think he'll go Sibley again.
I agree.
I think he wants his fullbacks to get forward. Roberts isn't naturally, he doesn't naturally want to get forward. So I think with him starting Sibley against Charlton, I think he'll just keep Sibley there. And then your midfield 4, obviously Mendes-Lang, and I think he'll stick with Barkhausen. I know Dobbin had a good run of form in the team, but I just think playing against Barnsley, Simon. We're playing Barnsley. I don't know what's going on here. Playing against Barnsley, I think he'll want the senior, like more senior players. So I think Barkhuizen and Mendes-Lang on the wings. Then the 2 in midfield. I think he'll go with Horahan and Knight, and then obviously Didsey and McGoldrick up top. I think that's the way. Which is sort of contradicting what we said on our podcast earlier this week. For those of you who've not listened to the podcast, you can catch it on Spotify, Apple, and all your major podcast platforms. Just search for the Rams Right podcast. However, obviously Harvey White was a big talking point in our podcast. Would it be fair to drop him? I don't know, but I just think that he will go back to the 4-4-2, and would he drop Horahan or Knight to put White in? I don't think he will.
He's not frightened of making substitutions, though, Simon. If it goes pear shaped and the starting formation isn't working or not getting the returns back which he would like and the positivity, he's not frightened to change it, is it? So, Paul Warne has changed the formation a few times this season while he's been in tenure. So nothing surprises me with Mr. Warne.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I just think he'll look at trying to get balls into the box a lot. And for that, I think you're going to be best suited to having Didsey and Collins, who can both get on the end of things, both find the back of the net. So I think that's my reasoning for him going 4-4-2. But do you think he's, like you said, you think he's going to stick and go 4-5-1? Who do you think the midfield's going to be then?
I think he will drop McGoldrick into midfield. I know. I just think that he'll play a 10 as a 10.
Right.
I just think Collins needs to come back in. I think it's his kind of game. I think that they will expect McGoldrick up top. I think I like Didsey in that hole. I really do. I know that he led the line against Charlton and we won, blah, blah, blah. But I do think that if he can play that 10 role and allow Knight to venture forward, and he can also obviously support Horahan when he needs to. That was Knight, by the way, not White. Then I think we'll be fine. I just don't see Harvey White staying in the team, but that's just my opinion. I don't think this is his kind of game. I think you can have too many footballers. I think if you have, excuse me, if you have a lot of skill in there and a lot of ability, I think sometimes they get overrun with physicality, and I think that's what happened a couple of times this season. I think he'll go very rigid, but I think he'll hopefully allow Didsey to have the free roll. What I will say about that is that there's been some away games that he has not showed up, Wickham being one of them.
Yeah.
So it's, do you know what? I think there'll be hundreds of people deciding a formation out of there, Simon, and all of us will have no real idea. And then he'll probably go on and not change a bloody thing. so we'll sit there and think,
typical one.
I've just spent an hour.
This was it though. I mean, I obviously after the 5-0 win against Morecambe, you were adamant he'd change it against Wickham.
I was.
But I went, no, he'll keep it the same. But obviously then essentially he did change it in the second half to obviously the 4-5-1 or 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, well, obviously, just on the obvious press conference, and so we mentioned Bird in our podcast. He's looking about a couple of weeks away to back to full fitness. James Chester, the forgotten man, it feels like, could be a bit less. So that's going to be interesting, actually. What role was James Chester going to play? You know, he's been out most of the season injured. You've got Forsyth and Cashin, who are rock solid at the back in a minute. You know, there's a lot of praise for Eiran Cashin, rightly so. But obviously, I think Forsyth, as you mentioned earlier this week, is not getting the praise he deserves. So it's an interesting one for Chester. It's going to be one of them. Does he take the place of someone on the bench? And if so, who? Would it be Davis, perhaps? Or does he just stay out?
Would you consider putting Fozzie at left back? No, I wouldn't either. I think don't change what isn't broken.
No, he's got. I think at the minute he's found his feet. He's gone from a left. Let's put it this way. He's gone from a left mid. That's where he started. He was left mid to a left back to centre back, and I think centre back now, with his age, with his knees, his bionic knees. I just think centre back suits him. I wouldn't, unless we were desperate. Unless Roberts and Sibley were both out, or we had to put Sibley further forward, I wouldn't even think about putting Fozzie at left back. I just think his time there is done, apart from as a backup option.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a bench warmer, Simon, between now and the end of the season. He's never had a run of games, has he, really? That sort of makes you want to put his name down within the top 2 or 3 on the team sheet. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's a bench warmer from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also, obviously, this is quite a funny, considering what we've just been talking about changing formations. Another point that Paul Ward made in his press conference was he feels sometimes that he can be guilty over changing the team too much or not changing it enough. Obviously, we've only got a very small knit squad, which he did allude to. He said he does like having a small group of players. He'd rather have a small group of players that, you know, are all vying for the same thing rather than having a big squad and there's little cliques forming and all this sort of thing. But do you think he's guilty of changing too much or not enough at times?
I think you got it wrong at Wickham. Oh, there you go, yours. Here's your favourite team again. I think he got it wrong at Wickham. I think he should have put the fresh legs on at 1-1. So I think he held back incorrectly there. He regarding starting formations, he barely makes more than 2 changes, so he's pretty consistent with that. But he does like using his substitutions, and as you know, you can have up to 5 substitutions, but in blocks, you know, maximum of 3 blocks.
Yeah.
So he likes freshness in his team. He likes to keep the press on. I don't think we've pressed anywhere near as hard recently. That could be tired legs. It could be tactical. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that.
But does that press start from the front? And that's what Collins does that. You notice if Collins goes, Knight will tend to go.
Yeah.
and then we get the press. Where McGoldrick isn't one for really pressing.
No, absolutely not.
Which...
And this is why I think they'll press Barnsley. I think they'll press them. I don't think they'll have them settle at all. It'll be interesting to see if he looks at the two previous games this season, the FA Cup game and then the league game, because obviously the league game, if I remember rightly, Rosinha was in charge.
Yeah.
The FA Cup game was a very strange game because Barnsley were awful.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, going back to the FA Cup game, they did start on top, I felt. The first 15 minutes.
But they fell apart.
Well, we got the penalty, didn't we, right at the start, right at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of shifted our mindset, if you like. But yeah.
But we haven't, they've got a good home record. One thing I will say about Barnsley is the away end suits us. It's a huge away end. The noise will be cranked up. I saw that. Did you see that letter that they released to all their fans all over social media? Pretty much begging people to go because it was Derby, because of the fact that we bring noise, and they just really want to drown out our amazing fans and make it a home fortress, in particular for this game. So, but Oakwell Park is one of those stadiums that allows the away support to be dominant, with it being that open away end. And I've been there when there's been 7,000 in that away end. I'm not sure how many we're taking this weekend, but you can make some noise. Well, I think I saw it was, I can't remember if it was Barnsley or Oxford, but I saw one of them was taking 5,000 fans. Yeah, with Barnsley,
which is Barnsley.
Yeah. The away end. Yeah, they're just be warned, people who are listening. And if you've never been to Barnsley before, their away stewards are really fickle. The slightest thing you do wrong, and they're looking to turf you out. I remember one year I went there with a Fungus the Bogeyman mask on for some strange reason. I don't know why. It must have been one of those days. And I literally, as soon as I put it on, they kicked me out. You know what I mean? And they said it was for security reasons and they need to see people's faces. I'm not being funny, but if I'm going to run onto the pitch as Fungus the Bogeyman, if you catch me, you're going to take my mask off anyway. So what's the problem? So I don't know. Very, very strange place. And I have a bit of a connection to Barnsley with my late granddad Gordon being a massive Tyke fan, and from Grahamthorpe, lad, from Grahamthorpe.
Wow.
So I've got a bit of a soft spot for Barnsley. Not a big soft spot, but I've got a little soft spot. But I still hope we give them a good drubbing.
Can I just say, we don't really have much look at Oakwell.
No, we don't, do we?
I'm just looking back, and the last time we won there was under Gary Rowett,
who's doing a great job at Millwall, by the way.
Yeah, he is. So we won there 3-0. We drew under Lampard 2-2. Drew in 2021. That would have been under Koku, wouldn't it? Oh no, that was the Rooney game. And then we lost our last game. No, so yeah, it would have Rooney. It was the Rooney 0-0 with the COVID one I mentioned, and then we lost 2-1 last season.
It was dire, wasn't it? It was terrible.
I think we took Baldock give us the lead. I think it was his first goal, and then we just
Baldock.
I know where's he gone now? He's gone to Oxford. He has
he?
Yeah, crippled again. Shock.
Oh, what a surprise!
Well, exactly. But yeah, so Oakwell's not been the best stomping ground for us, to be honest. So it'd be nice to have a change.
It will. The interesting thing about Barnsley, Simon, looking at the stats, is that they attack both wings equally. They're split. It's something I was reading it today. It's like 37% left side attacks, 37% right side attacks, and then that leaves 26% down the middle. So they're not frightened to. They're very similar to Derby. We're very similar. We're not frightened to go for teams from both sides.
Yeah.
The other thing I find quite interesting, they haven't really got a prolific goal scorer. Like their top scorer is Cole on 8 goals, and then you've got Norwood on 7 goals, and then a couple of lads on 6 goals. So, they haven't got anyone that's up there with, 16 goals like we have, and then 12. They spread the goals around thinly, although they've been banging them in recently. So, The other interesting thing I found was Norwood has got a bit of a mean streak on him. A bit of a nasty streak. He's on 8 yellow cards for the season. So clearly, if you rattle the centre forward, a Norwood, and you get into his head, he's liable to get a yellow. And you know what it's like. Any decent striker on a yellow card is always a worry for their team.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Barnsley have flown up the table. They're only a point behind us
with a game in hand as well.
With a game in hand, yeah. It's so they are looking obviously now. But these are the important games. These are the ones, you said obviously we hadn't had much luck against those sort of between 7th and 10th, that they're the ones we seem to find difficult. This is another one, but you look at that and you think, well, if we are serious about I wouldn't say a playoff push, but a automatic promotion push, then these are the games that we must win, without doubt.
Yeah, the good old 6 pointer, as they say.
Because Wickham, they are creeping up. They're only 4 points behind us, and I know they've just lost the manager, but you still think, well, I know he had him in good form. I don't think a great deal will change. They'll still be looking and pushing for wins. So all of a sudden, you start dropping points. This is now the serious time of the season. You start dropping points now. This is where you get caught. I think February and March are the months really that define your season. So we definitely need a win. We definitely do. Well, if we're not going to win, do not lose. Basically, that's it's one of them games. Because
I agree with you. I agree. I think this season's going to end up being single points.
The likes of Bolton, Wickham, they'll be looking now and going, one of them's going to drop points, and that's good for us. So that's, it's got to be one of them. If you don't win, don't lose.
I think if I remember rightly, Simon, that this weekend there isn't that many clashes that sort of affect the top end as such. Regarding you look at fixtures and go, oh, that could be dodgy. We've got Barnsley away, Bolton are at home to Port Vale, so you think that'll be a bit of a shoe-in with the form they're on. Sheffield Wednesday are away at Charlton, but I don't see that being much of a problem for them.
I can't. Sheffield Wednesday at the minute, they are well and truly flying. They are a team that is seriously.
I think here's the interesting game. Ipswich at MK Dons, MK Dons definitely need the points, and then Plymouth are away at Peterborough. Now Peterborough have just started to get momentum again, and they've got 2 or 3 games in hand on people above them. Now that really could be Plymouth losing more points, and if we can get a win at Barnsley, and let's be honest, Plymouth are our target now. I think Sheffield Wednesday are flying and they're going to be difficult to catch. But I think if Plymouth have another wobble and lose at Peterborough and we get a win at Barnsley, we get back within 8 with a game in hand with 14 to play. All of a sudden, our blip looks like a thing of the past.
Well, that's it. I mean, you think about it. If you say we get a win at Oakwell on Saturday, say we've got then Cheltenham at home on the Tuesday night, isn't it? On the 28th, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've got Shrewsbury the week after. If we can get 9 points there, and like you say, Plymouth drop a couple of points, that Plymouth Derby game on the 7th becomes massive, absolutely massive. And that then, I think if we can go to that game with 4 wins under our belt, I think, and we go there and we get 3 points, that then says to me, right, we're in this, we're going for automatics.
Yeah.
That really does put us in the hot seat then.
It's interesting. I think all of the top 4 pretty much play Charlton in February, or certainly going into March. So I think of what we saw just gone, I'd imagine that most people will take points off them. So, but yeah, no, you're right. I just think we have to focus on ourselves. I know that's an old cliche and take every
Yeah.
game as it comes. I just think that we need to still believe that we can catch them. I don't want the mentality, and I'm sure they haven't got the mentality of, we're firmly in the playoffs. Let's look to get home advantage in the playoffs. No. There's plenty of games yet. There's 45 points to play for.
One for me, Warren won the playoffs. Warren won
No.
automatics. But to do that, he thinks we've got to score more goals from set pieces. That's one thing he came out in his press conference, and I think that's one thing he sort of is going to look at against Barnsley is set pieces. He says he wants more goals from set pieces, and he says this is I like this actually. The timings of the runs and aggression needs to be a lot better. And they've been working on this week, having a bit of a review on how they were with set pieces against Barnsley last time. So I wonder if he's seen that as a potential weak point. Because it's all right. Obviously, we get a lot of corners. We've got Horahan, great deliverer of the ball. Even Sibley, if Horahan's not taking it. I remember when Sibley was on set pieces when Horahan was suspended. Absolutely brilliant. Just not getting nobody on the end of it, or we are getting on the end of it, but we're not causing any problems. And I think Cashin's goal epitomised on Saturday, epitomised what you have to do to score from a free kick. He wanted that ball more than the defender. He timed his run perfectly, started from an offside position, and then the ball came in. He timed his run absolutely spot on, and he died. He showed the aggression to get the head of the defender to score. We just don't seem to do it enough. But I don't think it's just this season. I think it's been something that's. I remember playing. I think it was Blackburn, and I think it was back in. I think it was 2014, 15. It may have been, but I remember saying we got a corner and the South stand. I was in the South stand at the time. Went into up, as they do. Go on, Arbin. And I literally just said to him, mate, I don't even know why we even bother getting like that because we never score from set pieces. Lo and behold, we did. And then we did it again. We scored 2. But I just think it's been something for a while now. Apart from was it Koku when we had, or was it Rooney? When we had Shay Given doing set pieces, we seemed to be a threat then.
Yeah.
But since then, and then before then, we've never really seemed a threat from corners or free kicks or anything like that.
We've never had the most physical of squads, have we, Simon? Certainly in recent years, with height or size. Like you look at some teams throughout the divisions, and you look at them and think, well, I think if I remember rightly, didn't Morecambe have a couple of lads that were 6'3", 6'4"? I know Fleetwood have. Barnsley have scored 15 goals from set pieces.
Did you see the size of Enike that came on for Charlton last week?
Yeah.
God, he's a unit. He's a proper League One player. He's the sort of person you think, right, sling it on a box and get your head on it.
Yeah.
And like I said, we haven't got that sort of person with that. I mean, for some reason, it felt like against Charlton, a lot of our corners were headed towards Jason Knight, who is most likely the smallest man on most pitches.
Yeah. And if you look at our squad, Simon, realistically, on the pitch, who is an aggressive attacker of the ball when it comes to heading the ball on target at goal? We haven't got an aggressive centre half. All right, Cashin got a great goal. It got deflected, and his run was impeccable. It was very good. But if you're looking at someone who you turn around and go, he's an aggressive centre half. He must be an absolute handful on set plays. You're having to go back a long, long way.
Nate Buxton was quite aggressive.
Yeah, Bucko was okay. He bagged in a few. I'm going back to. Wow, I'm going to go. I'm in the 90s in my head.
Where are you? I'm trying to think.
I'm at Dean Yates.
Stimac.
Yeah, these guys would
McGraw.
These guys would throw themselves. I might have missed someone between then and current, and I apologise for anyone out there if I have missed them. And it was great to hear your comments on centre halves that that wore a Derby shirt that were an aggressive, and I mean a total out and out aggressive attacker of that ball on an offensive set play. Because I don't think Keogh dropped odd one here and there, but
I don't think he did. I don't think Keogh got that many goals from set pieces. He didn't get many goals at all.
No, but I bet we're probably in the bottom 2 or 3 every year when it comes to set piece headed goals.
Because even Curtis Davis was, well, he's only got a couple of goals for his auntie, but he's not.
Bradley Johnson wasn't bad.
Yeah, but he wasn't a centre half, was he?
But he wasn't a centre half. But it'd be nice to have
just someone someone that's going to tap balls into the box.
Basically, you would absolutely shite yourself marking him. You saw him patrolling at the edge of the area, and you think, oh, here we go. And yeah, we've all played football at whatever level, and we've all been there in the corner, and you've seen the big beast come up, and you just think, oh,
can't play football, we can put his head on something.
Absolutely. Bit like my brother was just like that.
My PE teacher was like that. Mr. Kinane, big Scottish guy. We played like a sixth form versus teachers game, and he was playing central defender. No one could get past him. He literally was one of them, just tackle you and play the ball. That's it. And he come up for this corner. Every single one he got his head to, and he was just the ball, the delivery just weren't good enough. And then I remember there was finally one with a perfect delivery, and he got there bang on time. He rattled the cross. I was in goal, and he beat me, and he just absolutely rattled the crossbar. And I just remember him walking off in his big broad Glaswegian accent, going, "How the fucking hell did I miss that?" And he was just like, I just thought every time, I thought, here we go. Every single corner went on his head, and yeah, it was just incredible. But yeah, I can't think of anybody we've got.
I think Barnsley have got Jordan Williams. I'm sure he's a centre half, and he's got 5 goals this year.
Yeah. But even Ollie Norwood, it is Ollie Norwood, isn't it? Former Sheffield United player.
Yeah, Norwood.
He is aggressive.
Yeah, he's got. I forgot. Not only has he got James Norwood, not only has he got 8 yellows.
Sorry, not
he's got
Norwood, James Norwood.
He's got 8 yellows. He's also got 1 red. So he's had more bookings and red cards, and he's scored goals.
So he's a bit of a liability then. But he's gonna be one of them players that tries to rough up Cashin, tries to rough up Fozzie, get under the skin a little bit. He's as you say, like an old school sort of aggressive centre forward. But yeah, just obviously mentioning Cashin there. This was quite an interesting quote from him. Obviously, everybody's lips are talking about Eiran Cashin in a minute, and the press conference was no difference. And this shocked me when Paul Warren said this. He says when he first came in, he saw Eiran Cashin. He says, "No, I'm not having him." And it's basically because of his size. He's not the most tallest of players. He's broad. Don't get me wrong, but he's not massive, is he?
No.
And he just says he now regrets thinking that he's not going to be good enough because of his size. Because over he's learned to get his body in the way. He's learned to use his body right.
He's 6 foot. He's bang on 6 foot.
So he's short for a centre half. But it's his range of passing as well that's improved massively. He said, and he's right. I remember like last season, start of this season, I think Cashin, say he passed 10 long balls, he'd probably hit 1 at the target. Now you're looking at least 5 or 6 out of 10. I think his passing has improved massively, and that's what you want when you're looking to switch play out wide to Mendes Lang or Barkhausen or whoever's on the wing. When you got your centre back, because he's starting to do the Keogh thing as well, where he marauds forward, but he marauds forward and actually looks to play the ball forward rather than turn it around and playing it backwards or sideways. So I think he is adapting, he is getting better, and I think he's played 40 games now, 49 games on the trot. 46.
He's done 46 games, 2 goals. And I just realised he's from Mansfield, isn't he? He's from Derby seem to have in modern era a good rapport when it comes to centre halves from Mansfield with good old Bucko as well. Yeah. And they both play very, very similar. Obviously, I'd say Eiran's got a better passing distribution and range than Bucko, but they're both around the same height. Bucko isn't the tallest of lads, but both obviously very good in defensive air situations. So
Both got very good attitudes as well. He's impressed with his
Brilliant
attitude.
attitudes.
He says he's very level-headed. He's not someone that if he subs him off, he's going to kick off or anything like that. He just gets on with it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I underestimated him. I don't know. When I said on Monday, Monday on the podcast, where obviously he said he'd run through brick walls for this club, but what players say and what players mean are different things. But in fairness, he probably would. But again, I mean, even Warren alluded to it. If he wants to progress his career, which and play for a top club, he wants Cashin to score more goals.
Yes.
And if he can add goals to his repertoire, that's a word you don't hear every day. Then he can, and he most certainly will go on and play for bigger clubs or Premier League clubs or whatever. And I believe him. I think he will. I've been impressed with him since seeing him play against Borussia Dortmund under 19s. And I can never ever remember the player's name, but he's a decent player now. But he had him on toast all game. Was it a Dembele? No, I can't remember now. But I think you were at. No, were you at that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were. But I can't remember it wasn't. But there was a player for Dortmund who they were all raving about, and Cashin, I literally had him in his back pocket all game.
You're talking the under-19s European.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it was live on BT. That was.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't watching it at work.
No, I was there. I was pitchside.
Yeah. But yeah, and ever since seeing him then, it was, wow, this player's definitely going to make it. You could just sense it. Do you know, like when you see it, I felt like we had a lot of academy players rammed down our throats, but for one reason or another. And, but some of them, I just look at them and think, yeah, they're not going to make it. And so, yeah, more goals, more opportunities. So I think he's just got to carry on doing what he's doing, and as you say, be aggressive in the box, and hopefully be that defender that you want that we're missing.
Yeah, totally, and I think that will be on the radar going into the summer. I think we're not blessed with goals coming from all parts of the park, should we say?
Yeah,
I think Barnsley do have a better spread of goals throughout their team. I'm not saying that they have prolific goal scorers, but if you actually look at their squad or their regular 13 or 14 players, there is a nice spread of goals. So we've got to be a little bit wary, just because some people look at teams objectively as if to say, well, they haven't got any prolific scorers, there's nothing really to be worried about. But I turn around and say, well, I'm more worried about teams where goals come from all over the place.
Yeah,
because just when you think you've got everything covered, pop, comes along.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone comes along from a fullback position or from a deep midfield run, and bang, you're 1-0 down.
So on that note, and just before we finish, then, Chris, you know what I'm going to ask you, don't you? Score prediction.
Is this for Barnsley or for Wickham?
For Barnsley.
Sorry, Winkham.
No, it's for Barnsley.
Barnsley prediction. I'm going to go with a 1-0 scrape home. Let's run out of South Yorkshire with that goal quickly. And I'm going to go for an unorthodox name. I think Craig Forsyth is due a goal.
Oh.
So I'm going to go for Fozzie. I'm not going to put a fiver on it because, 1-0 Craig Forsyth, 84th minute. Thank you very much. What are you going, Simon?
Well, I'm going to go 2-2.
Ooh.
But the thing is, I'm going to go 2-2 here, but on my accumulator, I'm going to put Derby to win.
Yeah.
Every week I've put Derby to win, and they've only let me down once in the last however many weeks. So everyone else has let me down though. So, but yeah, no, I don't know. I just think it's going to be one of them games. It's going to be a tight game, and I do think there's going to be goals. Derby score for fun. Barnsley score for fun. Let's be honest. So I don't think it's going to be a drubbing like it was at the FA Cup. I just think it's going to be a tight game with goals in it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to say Dids is going to get one, and I'm going to go Barkhausen's going to get one as well.
Oh, and who's going to be your player to watch for Derby? Who do you think is going to be the key?
I don't know. I think Mendes Lang is about due for a good game again. He
Yeah,
showed
he's
up
been
against
average, hasn't he? Yeah.
He showed up against Port Vale. Obviously got the late goal. But I think we need to see him running down and attacking that right hand side again. I just think against Charlton he showed it in spells, and I think him and Smith, once they're working together, full on firing and using each other, they're unstoppable. So I think Mendes Lang's due a game for us.
Okay, I'm going to go for Conor Hurrihan because it's one of his former clubs. I think he's played more times for Barnsley than most.
Yeah.
You know what it's like when a former player goes back. You never know what to expect with him. I know he's had a few clubs since Barnsley, but let's be honest, he made his name there.
Yeah.
So he'll get a good reception. I think if he keeps his level head on, I think he's going to be very important in the game. I just worry that the sentiment of the game might just take him away slightly from it, and that's when you perhaps get Harvey White coming in to do his thing. But yeah, I think if Conor Hurrihan has a big game, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. So there's prediction, guys. Let us know in the comments your predictions. Also, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you on. Well, me and Chris are going to record the next podcast on Monday night. It'll be out on Tuesday, and we'll do. Well, actually, saying that, we've got Cheltenham on Tuesday, haven't we?
Yeah, we should do Sunday, I reckon.
I can't do Sunday, so no, I'll record it Monday.
Cool.
But we'll include the match we'll include the preview in.
Yeah, we'll do a longer show. Yeah.
And then I tell you what we'll do on a Thursday on YouTube, we will do the build up to the Shrewsbury game, but we'll also review the Cheltenham game. So sounds like a plan.
Look forward to it, mate.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, follow, share. Remember to follow Chris on Twitter, DCFC_CMH. Follow me on Facebook, Rams Right Podcast, Instagram, the _Rams Right Podcast, and TikTok, the Rams Writer. And those guys, I shall see you next time, Chris. You guys, I shall see you next time. And as always, come on, Derby.